everyone, welcome back to Blurred Bit Beauty right here on the Blurred Nerds podcast channel. My name is Lil Bit. Thanks for tuning in. Today, in this episode, we are going to be jumping on a trend that was popular quite a few months ago, and I am not one to ever catch trends when they're getting all the hype, but we're going to be doing some Spock Brows today, as well as talking about some of the history behind one of Star Trek's most beloved characters. If that interests you and you think you might want to check out future or past videos, be sure to click the like button, hit subscribe, and follow along on both mine and the Geek Father's geeky adventures right here on YouTube. Alright, so let's get started with our Spock Brows. Now, I have costumed as a Vulcan before. I've also done Bajorans and a few other Star Trek characters. The last time I didn't really know how to glue down my brows correctly. We're going to see if I've gotten any better at it. Right now, the only thing I have on my face is I put on some moisturizer about an hour ago. I tried to avoid the eyebrow area so that does not interfere with the glue drying. But first off, we're gonna brush these straight up so I can get an idea of where I want to go with the glue. And we're not gonna, put you through the multiple steps of waiting for the glue to dry. We'll kind of jump in here and there on that. But I'm going to be using just an Elmer's washable school glue. It's purple, so it's not like as dark as purple as some of the glues that you might have seen, like Trixie Mattel or KimChi or some of the other really popular drag queens who do makeup tutorials online use. But hopefully I'm still going to be able to see a bit of the color and tell that it's dry by it changing colors. Alright, so we're just gonna kind of go up to the arch here and start smoothing that down on my brows. And nope, it is not showing up purple. So I guess we're just gonna decide this is dry by touch, and it's not gonna make for exciting video to see the change in color. I put some glue on there. I'm going to use one of the little wooden, let's say, manicure sticks. Smooth it down, make sure it gets in there. And what we're going to do is basically just do this multiple times until I know they're really glued down. I'm also, as I do each layer, I'm just going to say screw it to ever using the brush on the end of this again. Because I'm going to use it to brush through the glue and make sure that it really gets in there. And I'm going to find another brush to be able to brush through the rest of my hair that doesn't have glue. Let's see what that feels like. I don't feel anything, so hopefully this glue is not dried out. I mean, it feels sticky somewhat. Maybe it is dried out. Well, we're still going to try this in a layer. I'm going to go grab a second glue stick too, just to make sure that we are getting these glued down. So, I'll be right back with another layer of glue on my face. Alright, we've got about 4 layers of the glue on. I went and found 2 more sticks that I know are sticky. So I've got another one of the washable stick glue that's light purple, but obviously not purple on my face, so I can't tell by color when it's dry. And then I grabbed something I might regret later, but we will see. Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength Glue Stick. This says it goes on blue and dries clear, but again, I'm not seeing any color. I know it's there. It's sticky on my face. I can feel it. So while we're going to be doing multiple layers of that, waiting to get the hair down, let's tell you a bit of history behind the character of Spock. For all you Star Trek fans out there, I'm sure the die-hard ones know this story already, but maybe you casual fans or people who've just dabbled here and there throughout the movies and various series might not know that Spock almost didn't exist. He was almost omitted from the TV series over religious concerns stoked from his physical appearance, which went to not only the brows, but the ears. That's right, one of Star Trek's most beloved characters was almost not a part of the series. So, after we get a few more layers down of the glue and get into the nitty-gritty of the Spock brows, we'll be right back and talk more about how Spock was almost left out of Star Trek. Alright, so I've got about 5 layers of the glue on the sides of my eyebrows right now, and they seem to be pretty down in place. I'm going to take some water on a Q-tip and just kind of clean a bit right underneath, because one of those sticks was a little bit thicker than the other and it got a bit out of the hair. I don't want that to interfere once I start adding some makeup on top. Alright, we'll let that dry. And I am going to get my Covergirl with Olay Simply Ageless Foundation in the shade 220 Creamy Natural. And we're going to see if that's thick enough to cover up the brows. I'm going to let this skin dry a little bit more. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it. Star Trek, the original series, is at this point in time almost 60 years old, and right out of the gate, Spock became one of the most popular and beloved characters. He was the Enterprise's Vulcan human first officer and an early breakout character with audiences and a constant presence alongside Captain Kirk. And of course, portrayed by Leonard Nimoy.
Your statement is not only illogical, but also unworthy of refutation.
But that was almost not the case. A little tiny sponge, dabbing that on the corners. So, Gene Roddenberry, the franchise creator of Star Trek, included Nimoy's Spock in the original Star Trek pilot that was called The Cage as the Enterprise's science officer, who was under the original captain, Captain Pike, who was seen in the pilot.
Check the circuit. All operating, sir. Copy the screen then.
It begins on the bridge of a recognizable Starship Enterprise, commanded by Captain Christopher Pike, played by the late Jeff Hunter.
Well, the network, NBC, was impressed enough to commission a second pilot episode with largely a new cast. They insisted that Roddenberry take out Spock moving forward. Their rationale had nothing to do with his performance or him as an actor, but they were concerned that his pointy ears, which were intended, of course, to signify that he's a Vulcan, would be perceived by the public as satanic and possibly offend viewers who were located in the Bible Belt and other religiously inclined parts of the United States. The network, NBC, even went so far to airbrush his ears out in some of the early promotional material for the series. Not like, you know, completely take off his ears, but take off the point, which somewhat bizarre. Like, I know, obviously, that mentalities were different back then when the show premiered. But do you think you would have seen, I mean, it's hard to now. It's hard to unimagine the character of Spock and Vulcans if you're a Star Trek fan. But do you think that NBC's rationale was correct in that if people saw those ears and, you know, were super religious, would they have thought that the character was satanic? I don't know. It's hard to say. Alright, I've got this Revolution brand luxury baking powder in banana. I really only use this when I'm doing special effects makeup. Not a huge fan of baking in general. I'm just going to dab a little bit and top these initial first layers of the makeup. Again, just like the glue, this is going to be something that has to be done in layers to really cover up the hair. And I might even, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how the next layer of the makeup goes. I might layer on a bit more glue, because my eyebrows are pretty dark. Let's get my little handy dandy stick here, and I'm just going to press down into that. So we're going to make sure the foundation color gets really worked in on top. I mean, I could have been brave and just shaved it off. I mean, I've accidentally waxed off the tails of my eyebrows before, but I just was not ready to commit to that. All right, more layer of the foundation. Alright, so we're gonna go between letting layers dry and adding some baking powder. Same way we did with the glue. And fast forward through that process a bit. And be right back to tell you more of the Spock story. Okay, so I've got a few more layers of foundation and baking powder on. You can see it's a little bit messy, so I am going to brush some of that baking powder off. And of course, this texture, but this type of technique is not really made to be seen close up, but great for a convention. Alright, so I think that CoverGirl foundation has gotten as light as it can get on the glue and my hair. So next up, I am going to switch to KimChi's The Most Concealer Multitask Superstar. And there we go. This is in the color TMC27 Pale. I'm also going to use this under my eyes for the rest of the makeup look. If you've ever wondered, because I know I did, when I would watch beauty tutorials or drag queen tutorials, what have you, or see photos online, I always wondered how people were getting so much brightness in this center area. I tried it with so many types of concealers and it just wasn't working for me. And then I got this product and figured it out. So first, I think, excuse me, let me get this out of my eye. I'm gonna add this under the eyes first, where I want to place concealer, and then go on top of this, just so I don't bring any debris down from the glue area. But as you can see, this is very pale. A little bit goes a long way, and this, at least for me, is not something I would wear out in the daytime, except for costuming. Nighttime, I think it would add a great look of brightness. I think that's going to be enough concealer for, you know what, I'm just going to put this on my fingertip to put on the brows, just so I don't get the applicator dirty. At nighttime, I think the brightness this concealer adds would look kind of spectacular. Look, see, look, a little bit just goes a long way. Now, alright, while we're going to be messing around with blending that in, I'm going to let it set on the eyebrows a little bit longer to really cake in there. And I'm going to move on to a clean beauty blender, get that a little bit wet, dab off the excess water, and start working in here. So, back to our Spock Almost Didn't Exist story. And by the way, I found this through comic book resources back at the beginning of April. It was written by Sam Stone, and they published it on April 2nd. See, look how bright that is. See that? So, where we left off, NBC had tried to airbrush Spock's pointy ears off promotional materials. And again, it told Roddenberry that they didn't want the character to reappear in the second ordered pilot. But of course, Roddenberry ultimately insisted that Spock was going to be in there, stay on the show, and NBC relented. Their concern ultimately led to the writers including winking references to the pointed ears popping up in many episodes. Whether it was a character making a joke or passing shots, for example, like lines from Dr. McCoy. Yes, see how much brighter that is? Now, if we lean forward and zoom in, you can see that you're gonna see texture. But, you know, I have older skin, and texture is to be expected. Because I'm a normal human being that has texture. The texture doesn't bother me that much because there's no such thing as perfect skin. Excuse the noise my chair is making. Alright, I'm going to turn this over to... Do I want? No. Okay, we're going to go back to that sponge and start blending that into the hair area. I'll probably need to bake that one more time. The most overt nod or wink to Spock's physical appearance to Satan came in the second season episode that was called the Omega Glory, where Captain Ronald Tracy tried to discredit Spock among the native population of the planet Omega 4. I think it's 4. IV. I should have looked that up. The episode basically had a primitive war between the Yangs, which were a sly reference to the Yankees, and the Cones, which were a reference to the Communists.
These words
Communists?
and the words that follow were not written only for the Yangs, but for the Coms as well.
Corms.
They must apply to everyone, or they mean nothing.
Maybe that should have been Confederates. The constitutionally minded Yangs revered their version of the Bible. Tracy pointed out that Spock resembled the Bible's depiction of Satan, with an illustration in the Holy Writ underscoring his argument before Kirk persuaded the Yangs otherwise. That's a direct quote from the comic book resource article. But in the end, the network's concerns turned out to be largely unfounded because, of course, we all know Nimoy Spock became a breakout character. You can still kind of see my brows, but the whole point is to be an illusion. And my hair is going to hide a little bit of it. Alright, we're going to go on to doing my face. I should have done some primer where I put the concealer, but we're just gonna use the Poreless Putty Primer from e.l.f. on the areas where I don't already have concealer. It's gonna help make I'm gonna use liquid foundation today because it's just gonna help smooth in the appearance of where we have glued down my brows. Alright, let's put that on. You've never tried the Poreless Primer? This is actually my first time using it right here on camera. Feels lightweight, doesn't feel super sticky, so it will be interesting to see how it grips onto the makeup. Right, and I'm going to go back in with the Simply Ageless foundation. That's what I'm going to use for the full face. And I'm going to switch to the other end of the Beauty Blender for that. It's a little bit damp. Before that, let's dust off some more of this baking powder. I have a feeling this is going to look really crepey around here. Oh, you know what? Before we go in with the foundation on the rest of my face, I'm going to switch to putting the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer in white on my eyelids. Now, as a general rule of thumb, I don't seem to remember seeing many Vulcans wearing some heavy-duty eyeshadow, so we're just going to do a neutral color on top of the primer. Now see, this feels stickier. This definitely feels like eyeshadow is going to adhere to this. And I'm just adding it to my finger, mainly because I don't want to get glue in my makeup brushes, but also I wanted to be able to really feel the texture since this is the first time I'm using this. Okay, now to the foundation. Okay, so as you saw in fast forwarding through the last part, I added a little bit more of both the base and the concealer. Let's see which side, yeah, this side. So as you can see, you can still see my brow hair through all those layers. Not so much on this side, it did a much better job. I think that just means that this is thicker, but I'm just gonna work with it. Alright, so we have the base on, a foundation all over the face, so before we move on to anything else, I'm going to try another new product. This is the Makeup Revolution Soap Brow. I've never done soap brows, but I think it might help everything stand up. So we are going to, it comes with a little brush, there we go, so you can see it against the dark background. I'm going to get that a little bit wet, roll it around in the soap. This is what it looks like inside. And we're going to start brushing straight up. So it's going to help, theoretically, with the shape that we want the Spock brows to go in. I'm going to go back through it with a regular brush here in a second to get some of these soap flakes out of my hair. Alright. That gets to dry for a second. And where to go? There it is. Get the little spoolie. Brush through that, get through some of let that dry. Then we'll start framing out where we want the direction of the Spock brows to go. So we all know that Roddenberry and Star Trek and Spock ultimately got their way because Spock has become one of the most endearing characters from the series, as well as Nimoy's portrayal of him. In fact, people became so rabidly obsessed with him and the character that his son Adam recalled overzealous fans collecting blades of grass and leaves from his family home, while Nimoy constantly made promotional appearances to capitalize on the character's popularity. Because I think, you know, back then it was possibly much easier to find out where a celebrity lived and go find their home. So that's a bit wild to think about. I mean, I know stalking and all that still happens now, but I think people do a better job of hiding where they live. Alright, I'm going to use, I've had this for years. It's one of my favorite brow products, but it's the Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow. This is in the color shade 715 Honey Brown. I am going to use shade number 1 here on the top to kind of map out where we want the brows to go. Alright, so Vulcan brows, you, instead of having an arch, want to go more straight up. So I'm going to get, let's go from the bottom. Yeah, let's go from the bottom of the brow. Lightly press against the skin. The good thing about this powder is I can easily remove it if it's not going the direction I want. Alright, now I'm at the top of the brow. We do want it to get thinner at some point. Let's remove a bit from the bottom here. Maybe I should have just mapped out the center. Let's do the center, see if that helps. Just knowing which direction I want this to go. Switch to the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Center, heading the direction I want to go. And I bet one's going to be higher than the other, because one brow is thicker than the other. Alright, I'm going to switch from the brush. And I am going to move to this It Cosmetics Brow Power. This is in the Universal Taupe. And I'm going to kind of use this to draw individual, well, get more precise. Well, this side's too thick. Oh well. Alright. Let's go back to the brow powder. I'm gonna fill in the brows a bit with it, just so this looks more together. And I'm trying to do rather just drawing a line, just brush up and in the middle, going with the hair, because it doesn't just look like a big block on my face. Alright, now I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Total Temptation Brow Definer in 305 Soft Brown, not the spoolie end because that has glue in it. And I'm going to try and do more individual hair strokes throughout this section that I drew. And I think that a liquid eyeliner or a brow pen would work much better. Do I have that? I have a black one. What is this? L'Oreal Flash Cat Eye by Infallible in Black Noir. Do I want my brows to just go full on black? Well, you know, Nimoy's looked black, so maybe we should just go for it. Let's just keep piling makeup on. Alright, because at least I'm going to get some more. The brown pencil would have looked much better on this. Okay, I can see I got a little crooked spot right there. I mean, I don't know how it really looks on film. Up close it looks a bit crazy. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to add some softness to it. Okay, let's do some brows. Eyeshadow. Alright, I've got the ColourPop Going Coconuts palette here. And as I said, I'm not going heavy duty eye makeup since I got all this on my brows, but I'm going to take the color Shredded right here and use that as a base on top of that putty primer. A little bit of color to the face, but also try to pat it on where the glue and all that baking powder is. You know, maybe I will just say screw it and do some heavier eyeshadow to try and cover that up. Alright, let's go with Shell Yeah, which is this reddish color here. Reddish brown. I'm going to go above the crease line, above the crease line. And just kind of go out and follow the new brow line. Bring that down, and then I'm going to bring it down into the crease. I'm just dabbing right now. So this is going to look a bit crazy for a minute. I'm leaving a little bit of space between this color and the brow, because that's where I'm going to put, you know, a brow highlight. Do the same thing over here. Right. Let's blend. Okay, now we're going to go in with the darker brown shade Nutty here. I'm going to do that in the corner of the eye and following up the point. I'm just messily applying this here. We're going to blend it. Really, the reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to draw attention away from the glue that's in my brows, since you can still see a little bit of my brow through it. I think, yeah, put more over here. But also I'm trying to help accentuate the direction that my brows are going in. So I've added a little bit more brown, that nutty color. And now I'm just really working to buff it out. See, and this is where we're hitting the problem of I used a glue stick that was a bit too big. Because if you look right there, that's where some of the glue has come under the eyebrow. But also, there is my original eyebrow. So the color is kind of sticking over those areas. I think I just need to really pack it on top of those glue spots. Okay. I look hilarious. Let's put a lighter brown shade on the eyelids. Let's go, just so there's not such a crazy difference in colors, let's go with Culotta right there. Put that on the eyelids and buff it out and see if it's gonna make a good trend. Yeah, okay, that's not such a stark light color. We're just gonna again dab that on there. In my case, stab it into the eyes. Get that red out from the corner there. Okay, get more of that tapered brush I was using just a minute ago and kind of buff it into the other two colors to blend it a bit. And it's a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to use a smaller tapered brush to do the bottom lid. I think I'm going to take that red. I mean, because we're going to look alien, like an alien species, why not just jump full on into it here. And again, we're going to buff that. And I'm going to do a bit of the nutty dark brown in the corner. Buff. Okay, let's do a brow highlight. We don't want it to be stark white, so let's go back to the Easy Breezy Brow, and I'm going to use the color number 3 there as the brow highlight. Another little tiny taper brush. Gonna lightly sweep through there. And just for kicks, let's a little bit in the corners to brighten that area up. And I think I'm going to go through with this middle brown just to flick in a bit more dimension and a bit of color on top of all these random black strokes that are through my brows. And you can see it's not really covering it up. note to self. If I do a Vulcan costume again, find a brown, light brown liquid liner to do that. I mean, the shape's not bad. I just went a little ham with the black liquid liner. All right, let's finish up the face here. So, back to our Spock story. So yeah, so Spock survived, became one of the most popular characters. Because of it, Nimoy was able to release music albums, photography books, and he was a great photographer, by the way. If you haven't seen his work, check it out. Let's use some Physician Formula Butter Bronzer in the light bronzer shade, just so I don't look completely washed out and pale here. I'm going to brush it up. And of course, we've even seen Spock show up in the new timelines that the movie universe has brought us, Abrams' version and younger versions of the Collector, played by Zachary Quinto in the movies, and Ethan Peck in season 3 of Discovery, and we even going to see the younger Ethan Peck's version of Spock continuing on in the Trek TV universe, along with Anson Mount, who is playing the new version of Pike in the spin-off Strange New Worlds series on CBS All Access. But are you a big Spock fan? Is that your favorite Trek character? Let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to add a little bit of warmth here. I should have thought about how the glue was going to affect my blending ability. A little bit of blush here, using the NYX Sweet Cheeks Matte in color Rose. Probably, it could be Rose in Play or it could be Rosé in Play. Sweep that up to meet the bronzer and move on to the cheek area. So yeah, this is much heavier than the makeup that I'm gonna wear during the day or even out at night. But for costuming, if I know I'm taking photos, gonna be under particular lighting at a convention, yeah, this is probably the look I would go for. Just so I know it would last. Where's my highlighter? Alright, this is gonna be blinding. I don't think I've even swatched this yet. This is a Maybelline Master Holographic Prismatic highlighter, and this is in the it's a shade number 50. I don't see a name for the shade on it. Alright, look at that. That is white. Alright, this is not blunt. Oh, well, there's glitter, but it's not a big white streak on my face. Oh, it is pretty. There's a lot of glitter particles. There's a little right there. Okay. I think this look needs some eyelashes. I don't wear fake eyelashes often. For costuming I do, so since we're doing more of a costume look, that's what we're going to do today. And I prefer magnetic lashes for costuming, just because of their ease putting on, and it kind of gives me the double of having some eyeliner, liquid eyeliner. So I'm going to be using the Kiss magnetic eyeliner in black, and then the lashes we'll be using today are Charm. Let's get that to focus. There we go. Alright, so I do 2 layers of the liquid eyeliner, magnetic eyeliner for the lashes. Sometimes 3, depending on how heavy the lash is going to be. These are more the lightweight ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer of where the lashes are going to go, and then I wait about a minute, and then I add my second layer. So we'll come back after that. Both layers have had a chance to dry, and put on the lashes. Alright, so I've got 2 layers of the magnetic Kiss eyeliner on for the eyelashes, and I went ahead, curled the lashes just with a Sally Hansen curler, and added a bit of mascara to help blend my natural lashes in. I use the Maybelline New York Falsies Lash Lift in just the color black. So let's put the lashes on. Again, I'm using the Kiss Charm magnetic ones. I have trimmed these down. They normally come with 5 magnets, but they're bigger than my eyelids, so I always trim them down. And I'm going to use the handy dandy little applicator here. And then pinch to blend in the lashes. Alright, next one. Great thing about magnetic ones is if you get them in a weird spot and they don't look like they're matching, they're easy to just pull off at the beginning and reposition. That looks somewhat even. Okay, so see how you can see a little bit of the skin underneath peeking out, and I want that to kind of all blend in together. So I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to use a jet black eyeliner, pencil eyeliner. This is Maybelline New York Lasting Drama Matte in 860 jet black, and I'm just going to come on my eyelid here, lift up. I'm using the Q-tip because it'll smudge the makeup last, and I'm going to draw. I'm going to try not to stab my eye. And then I'm going to draw under. There we go. Get the magnifying side of my mirror here so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Color in on the inner waterline. So I use this trick whether I'm wearing fake lashes or not, because it just makes everything look a little bit more full. Alright, let's finish this out with some lipstick. I'm going to use the NYX Lip Liner Crayon in Peekaboo Neutral. If you are interested in any of the products I've used, including the glue sticks, they'll be listed in the description below. There'll also be a link to that comic book resources article about Spock if you want to read it for yourself. One of the dogs is starting to play underneath my feet. You hear they're growling. It's almost their food time. So good thing we're almost finished. Alright, and then for lip color, y'all stop. I'm going to use the Maybelline Super Stay Ink Crayon. And where is the color listed on here? Anywhere? Oh. And the color changes good, number 85. Yeah, we're in full on play and wrestle mode now. Let's set that all. This is the NYX Matte Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray. And there you go. That is the, thankfully my hair is gonna hide a bit of the edges. There's the Spock Brows. What do you think? My blending could be better. But if you try this yourself, you got techniques or tips for people, or me, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and share if you're so inclined. And until next time, y'all take care out there, and don't forget your pillow.